Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of the Golden Age. This is our series of weekly Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports, and this is a 3,000 point battle that's fought between Fresh Prince Belair as well as myself. Fresh Prince Belair is playing the Avelorn Guards, a 3,000 point High Elves army, and I will be playing the Gorepilgrims of the Bloodwind Spoil, my 3,000 point Khorne Legion of Chaos. And so I've kind of made some adjustments to my army list one last time. I know I've been making adjustments to this army every single battle report, but I'm just trying to find the right combination of things that actually might work it out. So I've made some changes to this, and I think I've actually found exactly what I'm looking for my unit. And this game actually is a really good one. It's really, really bloody, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So that being said, we're going to play some background music real quick, and in the background music we'll actually show the pictures of the armies and show you exactly the army list for each of those armies. If you want to see exactly what each of us is bringing for this battle report, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll, and I forgot to mention, in the description I've also included the army list as well, so that way you can take a look at it there as well. So that being said, let's get it on.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought, or why we died. No. All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then to hell with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
Alright, so the scenario rules for this one is Battle Line. It is the most typical game of battle reports we play on this channel with standard deployment as well as standard victory conditions. So now that the scenario rules are over, let's go and talk about the battle plan real quick. Alright, so as you can see, we're playing on a 4x6 table. I am deployed on the far side of the table, while Fresh Prince Belair is deployed on the near side of the table as well. And pretty much, I'm a Chaos Legion of Khorne army. My tactics aren't really all that complicated. It's to get across the battlefield as quickly as possible and put the hurting on my opponent. I am fighting against High Elves, so I'm going to have my work cut against me because they have really excellent shooting as well as magical elements, and they're not bad in close combat either. So I got my work really cut out for me on this one. So as you can see here, I got my, typical deployment there. As you can see there, I got my 3 blocks of infantry with my skull cannons as well as my warhounds taking point to prevent me from breaking from frenzy checks, and all by themselves on the right hand side is my my Chaos Knights. My plan is to attack his Chaos is cavalry elements on the right hand side. Hopefully I can take out his light cavalry as well as the silver helms on the right hand side, because Tyrion's in that unit and I'm really happy about trying to take those guys out. Meanwhile, I'm going to send my infantry units down the pike, head straight towards his white lions. Hopefully I can catch those guys into a pincer attack of some sort with the Black Legion as well as with the marked men, and then hopefully my Flares of the 8 points can just absolutely destroy that unit of Sea Guard over there on the left hand side, the Lothern Sea Guard there. Hopefully they can take care of them. My dogs will run interference, and of course I'm just going to try to shoot everything in pieces with my cannons as best I can for those Phoenix Guard. And that's pretty much the plan I'm kind of going with this one. Alright, so now that we got our battle plan over with, it's time for deployment. So we start off with the Avelorn Guards over here on the left hand side. This is their deployment. In the back we have 3 Eagle Claw bolt throwers. Those are the falling leaves of Avelorn. And also right up in front of them is the Dawn Guard, is a unit of 23 Lothern Sea Guard with full command. They have spears, bows, light armor, as well as shield. And leading them is Tanis Lainel, captain of the Dawn Guard. He's a Lothern Sea Helm. He's also the army's battle standard bearer. He's got light armor, bow, as well as shield. And he's not packing any magical items whatsoever. So in the center of Fresh Prince Bel-Air's main center lines, on the left-hand side, that is a huge unit of White Lions of Trace. There are 33 of those guys with Musician as well as Standard Bearer. Those guys are packing great weapons, heavy armor, as well as Lion Cloaks. And they also have the Banner of the World Dragon. And leading that unit are two special characters. First off, we have Teclis, which is the special character. He's got his Sword of Teclis, Moonstaff of Lileath, Scroll of Hoeth, War Crown of Saphery. Since he's a Loremaster, my buddy decides to use the Lore of High Magic, which makes sense. And also in this unit as well as Khorne, which is the captain of the White Lions. So that's special characters in this unit as well. He's got heavy armor as well as Lion Cloak. He's got Shael, his magical weapon, as well as an additional hand weapon. He's also got the Pelt of Tyrandis as well, as giving him a little bit more protection. So that unit's going to be really hard to break, especially since they got the Banner of the World Dragon, so it's absolutely terrifying. And then right next on the right-hand side, of course, we have the Everwardens, a unit 25 Phoenix Guard with Musician and Standard Bearer. They get halberds, heavy armor, as well as Banner of the Eternal Flame. And that makes up Fresh Prince Bel-Air's center for this one. And making up his right-hand flank, we have the Silver Sentinels, a unit of 9 Silver Helms with full command. They got lances, heavy armor, shield, as well as Ithilmar barding on their elven steeds. And leading that unit, of course, is Tyrion, the special character. He's also the army's general. He's got Sunfang, the dragon armor of Aenarion, as well as Heart of Avelorn. He's also riding Malhandir, his special horse that he has as well. So that's going to be a really tough unit to crack. And Vanguard up 12 inches, we have the Silent Striders as well as the Word Bearers. Those are 2 units of Valyrian Reavers, 5 apiece with Standard Bearers. They got hand weapons, spears, bows, as well as light armor, and of course they're running Elven Steeds. And that pretty much makes the deployment for Fresh Prince Bel-Air on this one. Alright, across the table we have the deployment for the Gorepilgrims of the Bloodwind Spoil. And as you can see, I have that kind of like little masterful, mobbed up look on my units, just because I have to use leadership bubbles to keep everyone from going nuts in frenzy style. Anyways, up at the front on the left hand side, that is Crimson Chaos. That is my Skull Cannon of Khorne. Right behind them is the Flayers of the 8 Points, a unit of 23 Bloodletters of Khorne with Musician and Standard Bearers. They're packing Hellblades, and they got the Banner of Swiftness, making these guys movement 6. And leading that unit is the Sanguine Skinner. He's a Herald of Khorne. He's also my army's battle Standard Bearer. He's got the Greater Locus of Fury, giving him and his unit Frenzy. He's also got the Banner of Eternal Flame as well. And up at the front, those are the Fangs of Nier, which is a unit of 5 Chaos Warhounds with no upgrades. And then right next to him, the right-hand side, that is the Marked Men, a unit of 25 Marauders of Khorne. They got Musician, Standard Bearer, as well as Marauder Chieftain, so full command. They got hand weapons, flails, light armor, as well as shields. And leading that unit is Scylla Angrifin, my general. He's the special character, Chaos Spawn, who's also the general for his army. He's also got the Brass Collar of Khorne, giving his unit 3-up magical resistance. And making up the right-hand side of my center, in the front there we have the Flesh Terrors, which is a unit of 5 Chaos Warhounds with no upgrades. On the right-hand side, that is the Blood Rider. He is my second Skull Cannon. And the back we have the Black Legion, that is a unit of 24 Chosen of Khorne rather. They have full command as well as halberds and chaos armor. They also have the Banner of Rage, that way they never lose Frenzy. Also, I rolled off for their guys' rewards. For the rewards of Chaos, I got +1 toughness, so these guys are toughness 5, which is all kinds of awesome. And then finally over there in the back, that is Svarthal the Weakest on top of the Brazen Bull. He is my Chaos Sorcerer Warlord. He's got level 4 Lore of Metal. He's got the Sword of Might for +1 strength. Skull of Katam, so that way I can channel 6 dice for channeling. He's also got the Lore of Metal with the spells Searing Doom, Enchanted Blades of Iban, Glittering Ropes, as well as Final Man Transmutation. And once again, he's mounted on the Brazen Bull, which is a Chaos War Shrine dedicated to Khorne. And finally, on the far right-hand side, we have the Scions of the Destroyer, which is a unit of 8 Chaos Knights of Khorne with full command. They got unsorcerable weapons, Chaos armor, as well as shields riding Barded Chaos steeds. They also have the Standard Discipline, giving them +1 to leadership. Now, they won't be able to use my General's Inspiring Presence ability, but that's okay, though. And the reason why I have it in this unit is because they usually operate on their own. And leading them is Arbal the Destroyer, Champion of Khorne. He's my Exalted Hero of Khorne with great weapon, chaos armor, as well as shield. He's got the Helm of Many Eyes, giving him always strike first and +1 armor save and stupidity. That's why I put the banner of the Standard Discipline on these guys, so that way he can won't fail a stupidity test. He's also got the Dawnstone, so that way he can re-roll filled armor saves. He's also mounted on a Barded Demonic mount. And that pretty much makes up my deployment for this one. So with deployment over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and Fresh Prince Bel-Air and I roll off for initiative to see which of us will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1, and I managed to get the initiative on this one, so I'll be going first. So this is taken after the movement phase for the Legion of Chaos. And as you can see in this photo, I just start moving up as quickly as I possibly can, because the sooner I get into combat, the sooner I can start putting the hurt on these high elves. So as you can see here, I just march everything forward is all I do. So I march up with both of my units of the Flesh Tearers as well as the Fangs of Nyr to put in blocking positions. I march up the left-hand flank with the Flayers of the 8 points as well as the Blood Rider. Crimson Chaos. At the same time, I also marched with the Marked Men as well as the Black Legion. Same thing with Svarthal the Weakest as well as the Brazen Bull. They flow up right behind. Well, they don't really march, but they just move up their normal 6 inches right behind the unit. I also have the Blood Rider move up his normal movement allowance to protect the right-hand flank of the Marked Men. And I only move up my Signs of Destroyer just on normal movement allowance is what I do. I don't really charge with them. And the reason why is because I don't want to get countercharged in the flanks by either of these units as well. Well, let's put it this way. I'm going to get charged in the flank. I know that much from these light cavalry guys. But I can handle light cavalry. What I don't want to do is get charged by Tyrion as well as the rest of the Silver Sentinels. That's the thing I don't want to have happen. So that's why I kind of back up a little bit with those guys. Luckily, all my units pass their frenzy tests, so they have to worry about charging forward because Skull Cannons as well as Chaos Warhounds kept them from making charges, and luckily my Arbal the Destroyer passed his stupidity test, and they also passed their frenzy test, so that part was absolutely fantastic. And that pretty much makes the move phase for this one. So here's a close-up of Crimson Chaos as well as the Flayers of the 8 points, moving up as quickly as they can on the left-hand flank. And I do apologize for the blurriness of this image. I didn't realize it was this blurry until I actually started making this video report, so I do apologize for that. And here's a close-up of the Fangs of Nyr as well as the Flesh Tearers running interference and, getting in the way, acting as skirmishers for my main advance. And here's a close-up of the Marked Men as well as the Black Legion. In the back, we got Svarthal the Weakest with the Brazen Bull putting up the rear in order to provide magical support with his War Shrine. And finally, of course, we got the Blood Rider protecting the right-hand flank from my Skull Cannon there. And finally, there's a close-up of the Signs of the Destroyer with Arbal the Destroyer, and they're just looking for something to hurt. That's all they're really trying to do there. And that pretty much makes the move phase of this one. So the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And the magic phase, I do roll a 7, so we consult the Reign of Chaos chart and we get the Eye of the Storm, and since Svarthal the Weakest doesn't have a Chaos mark, nothing happens. So I do generate some power dice, and that part is absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, most of my magic phase was shut down. I do try to cast Final Transmutation off onto the Phoenix Guards I tried to do originally, but unfortunately my opponent basically dispelled it with the Scroll of Hoeth with Teclis. He also tried to roll to see if he could destroy that spell. Luckily, he didn't destroy it, so that part was really nice. He stopped my Searing, but me casting Searing Doom. He also prevented me from actually getting off Magical Blades of Iban. However, I did manage to get Glittering Robes off. That part I got really lucky on. I rolled really, really high for that one, and I gave 2-up armor save for my Marked Men as well. So these guys are now armor save 3, which is really important so that way they don't get shot off the table. And speaking of the shooting phase, both Crimson Chaos as well as the Blood Rider open up on the Silver Sentinels. Unfortunately, only the Blood Rider was able to hit people. I, of course, measured 10 inches from the back with my cannons. Crimson Chaos missed the unit by 2 inches, whereas the Blood Rider actually rolled a perfect 10, so it also bounced like 2 more inches into it. So I managed to kill 2 Silver Sentinels, which is all kinds of awesome. So with the shooting phase over with, we skip combat phase because no one's engaged in close combat, and we go directly to the bottom of turn number 1 for the High Elves. So we go directly to the bottom of turn 1 for the High Elves, and my buddy Fresh Prince Belair actually starts charging. It's actually kind of taking it back on that one. Usually my buddy Fresh Prince Belair likes to kind of hedge his bets. He likes to keep his forces back until the absolute last moment, then charge forward. But not this time. This time he took the initiative, which is actually interesting. First thing he does, he declares a charge with the Word Bearers. Those guys go charging directly into the Blood Rider there, my Skull Cannon there on the right-hand side, so engages those guys. They also charge in the Silent Striders directly into the right-hand side of the flank of the Signs of Destroyers, catching those guys as well. He then also rolls a long-distance charge. He rolls perfect boxcars for the Silver Sentinels, and those guys go tearing across the battlefield and smash directly into my main line, so that part was kind of crazy. Now, he does declare a charge with his Phoenix Guard against the Flesh Tearers, but unfortunately for him, though, he failed his roll. I think he only rolled like a 6. So because that he only rolls up 4 inches forward, doesn't really do much of anything. He then also moves up his White Lions, moves them up to some normal movement allowance just to even up with the Phoenix Guard as well. I guess he's trying to do that just to protect their flank or whatever the case may be. And finally, his Lothern Sea Guard from the Dawn Guard, they don't do anything because there's no reason for them to move because they're able to do some long-range shooting. And that pretty much makes the move phase for Fresh Prince Belair. So here's a close-up of Fresh Prince Belair's left-hand flank. As you can see, the Dawn Guard aren't going anywhere because there's no need for them as well. Same thing with the War Machines. They're just basically taking aim at whatever they're going to shoot at this turn, and I'm absolutely terrified to see what these guys are going to do. And here's a close-up of the Everwardens who failed their charge and move up 4 inches. And as you can see, the white lions of the Everqueen's Rangers move up in order to support them because, let's face it, you're facing against 2 units of Chaos Warhounds. There's not much to fear in that case. And here's a close-up of the charges taking place on my right-hand flank with the Word Bearers going up against the Blood Rider, as well as the Silver Sentinels and the Silent Striders going up against the Scions of the Destroyer. And I'm actually looking forward to that combat because I'm thinking that Arbol the Destroyer, my Exalted hero, can take Tyrion. I really think he can because Arbol the Destroyer has been operating like a boss since I've been fielding him, so hopefully he'll be able to bring the pain. So from there we go directly to the magic phase, and I consult the Skull of Catan, and unfortunately I rolled 2 1s on that one. So because of that, my leadership drops 2 for his Valthar, the weakest. He's starting to hear whisperings going on in the back of his head, so that part's kind of crazy. And the magic phase, with dominance, he's able to cast Drain Magic off onto my unit of marked men, which what that spell does, it takes away any buffs, or takes away any buffs or augments that are on an enemy unit, and also takes away any hexes or negatives that are on a friendly unit. Well, he casts it directly on the marked men, so because of that, Glittering Robes goes away, so they're no longer getting the buff from that, so these guys only have 5 of armor save, which is absolutely terrifying. He does try to cast Soul Quench, which of course I use most of my dice to dispel, but then he of course then casts Hand of Glory onto the unit of Lothern Sea Guard, giving them +2 to their ballistic skills. So now these guys have really good ballistic skills 6, and I'm starting to think that these guys are doing some long range shooting, which is absolutely terrifying. And with absolute authority, he casts Walk Between Worlds, the boosted version of Walk Between Worlds. So these guys move up 20 inches, stopping just 1 inch shy of making it directly into my marked men. And I couldn't believe that actually happened. I actually thought he kind of made a mistake on this part because at first I didn't understand why he was sending his Phoenix Guard into my Warhounds. I didn't really understand at the time. But now after I see this play, I understand exactly what he was trying to do. What he was going to try to do was charge his Phoenix Guard directly into my Flesh Tearers, so that way they're stuck in close combat. And then afterwards, he's going to use Walk Between Worlds on his White Lions for the Everqueen's Rangers to move through to get directly into my marked men. Now, the reason why that's important is because if I was to try to countercharge with my Black Legion into the flank of the White Lions, I wouldn't be able to do it because the Flesh Tearers would have been engaged in close combat with the Phoenix Guard, and I wouldn't be able to close the door, so I wouldn't be able to help them. The marked men would be totally by themselves. Luckily for me though, my turn is next, so I could charge my Flesh Tearers out there, so that way I can then send my marked men to the flank. So I think my opponent made a little bit of a mistake on this part because I'm planning on charging in next turn, and I'll chop these guys down. But then again, you know, my opponent also might know something that I don't know either. To make matters worse, he gets 3 spells off, so these guys have a 4 ward save. So they have a 2 ward save against magical attacks, as well as demonic attacks. He's got a 4 ward save against normal attacks, and these guys got heavy armor. They're also got stubborn, and they got core hills, so this is going to be a tough nut to crack in my opinion, so that part was crazy. But then the shooting phase. Good gravy, the shooting phase. All 3 bolt throwers from the Falling Leaves of Avelorn open up with multiple shots directly into the marked men. At the same time, the Lothern Sea Guard, the Dawn Guard, also open up directly into that unit as well. Managed to chop these guys almost in half, actually. I lost a lot of marked men on that one. And that's because armor save is only armor save 5 because, you know, I lost Glittering Robes, so that part was absolutely terrifying. And now understanding why my opponent decided just to commit with his forces forward, because now this unit's only at half strength. He's at max strength with his White Lions, and even if they do get flank charge, it won't matter because I just realized, talking about it now, if I do flank them, it doesn't matter because even if I disrupt them for their rank bonuses, they're still stubborn, so they don't have any negative modifiers going up against them. So I'm like, ah, crap, I'm realizing, you know, things are not looking very good at this point. However, in the combat phase, though, things are definitely going my way. First of all, with the Scions of Destroyer, I declare a challenge with Arbol the Destroyer because I have the guards chart, I have to. So, of course, Tyrion steps up and decides to accept the challenge as well. Arbol the Destroyer tries his hardest, but was unable to cause any injuries directly to Tyrion, so Tyrion's completely fine. However, Tyrion was able to put 2 wounds directly onto Arbol the Destroyer, so that part was not so great. For the rest of combat, the Silver Helms did manage to kill 1 of my Scions of the Destroyer. However, my Scions of the Destroyer, though, they're able to kill 3 Illyrian Reavers from the Silent Striders, as well as 4 Silver Helms. So technically, no matter what, I totally dominated on this combat. And of course, my opponent lost. I believe he lost by 3. It was all said and done. So he has a roll on a leadership of 7 for Tyrion. And unfortunately, Fresh Prince Belair does not make it, and plus he's too far removed from the rest of his army in order to get those leadership buffs. So because of that, he flees. He flees back like 7 inches, and I go flying forward 11 inches, and I just run down the Silver Sentinels, and I kill them all, including Tyrion. And praise be the Blood God of Khorne. At the same time, they managed to put I managed to put 1 wound on the Aenarion Reavers. However, the Aenarion Reavers were able to put a 1 wound onto my the Blood Rider. Unfortunately, because they charged, I lost by 1. So because of that, the Blood Rider now has 2 wounds on him. So that part kind of sucked. I forgot to mention this too. The Silent Striders, they also fled to the right-hand side, in case you're wondering, because they also had a break as well. And that pretty much makes up the combat phase for this one. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Chaos Legion. So this is the top of turn number 2 for the Chaos Legion, and I decide to go for broke and just charge forward, just because I need to destroy my opponent as quickly as possible. So as you can see here, first thing I decided to do is I charge my Warhounds. I charge the Flesh Terrors directly into the Everwardens, as well as the Fangs of Nyr, get them into a pincer attack, so you can see that that part is great. I did that so that way I can open up a gap, so that way my Black Legion can then flank charge directly into the White Lions there on the right hand side. At the same time, I also send Crimson Chaos into the left hand side of that unit as well. So that part was absolutely amazing. Caught this guys in a 3-way envelopment, which is really, really awesome. After that, I then charge in Svarthal, the weakest, as well as a Brazen Bull, directly to the left hand side of the Word Bearers, because I want to help out my Skull Cannon, the Blood Rider, in order to help that out as well. And as you can see here, I also charge in directly with the Flares of the 8 points. Now the Flares of the 8 points charge directly into the Dawn Guard, and they do make it. However, the Dawn Guard do stand and shoot as a reaction because they're already in column formation. Managed to kill 6 of my Bloodletters, which is absolutely horrible. So I lost a quarter of my troops closing the distance in order to make it. So that part's kind of nuts. And you can see in the top there, you can see there were the Silent Striders had broken. They're making their way to the right hand side. And of course, Albar the Destroyer, as well as the Signs Destroyer, just turn a little bit, staring at the nice right hand flank of the Phoenix Guard. And that pretty much makes up my movement phase for this one. So here's a close-up of the Flares of the 8 points going directly into the Dawn Guard. I'm really super excited to see how this fight goes, because Bloodletters against High Elf Sea Guard, that's nothing. I am kind of sad I lost a quarter of my guys along the way, but them's the breaks when you're fighting against High Elves. They got really good shooting. And here's a close-up of the Fangs of Nyr, as well as the Flesh Terrors, going directly into a pincer attack against the Phoenix Guard. And I have no illusions. I know I'm not going to win this one. There's no way in heck I'm going to be able to pull this one off. But I'm just trying to keep these guys in position as long as possible, so that way Arbal Destroyer, as well as the Scions of Destroyer, can actually charge the right-hand flank. I'm hoping these guys can stand a round of combat, so that way I can do that. And here's a close-up of that beautiful 3-way envelopment with the Markmen attacking the Everqueen's Rangers from the front. The Black Legion are hitting them from the right-hand flank, and the Crimson Chaos is hitting from the left-hand flank. So I'm really super excited to see how this combat goes. And here's a close-up of Svarthal the weakest, as well as my Blood Rider still currently engaged in close combat with the Word Bearers. And lastly is a close-up of Arbal the Destroyer, as well as his Scions getting ready to charge directly to the right-hand flank of the Phoenix Guard. So with the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And the magic phase, I rolled an 8, which results in the Dark Prince Thirst on the Reign of Chaos chart, which means that any unit that's unengaged on a roll of a 6, they gotta take 3d6 against their leadership, and that difference that they suffer is how many wounds they suffer with no armor saves. And tragically, the Silent Striders were the guys who actually failed that one, and so the 2 guys who are fleeing, they get killed as their souls are claimed by Slaanesh, as Slaanesh drinks their essence and laughs maniacally in the Chaos Wastes. So from there, we go directly to the magic phase, and once again, I consult the Skull of Catan, and unfortunately, I lose another point of my leadership, so I'm leadership 5 now for this guy, and now the voices are starting to make sense inside of my head as I'm listening to the Skull of Catan. And unfortunately, the only spell I was able to get off was Magical Blades of Iban. I managed to put that on the Flesh Terrors, giving them +1 to hit with magical attacks. And the reason why I put it on those guys is because I can't put it on any of my Marksmen or my Black Legion, because then again, the White Lions are get a 204 save against those attacks. So that's the only thing I was able to do. So that part was really horrible. I did try to 5 dice Giver of Glory with my Bound spell, but then my opponent just 6 dice and just dispelled it. So that part was absolutely horrific for me. So we skip shooting because everybody's engaged in close combat, and we go directly to the combat phase, and good gravy, the combat phase was absolutely atrocious, as you can see in this photo. First of all, where to begin. First of all, what ended up happening is that I have to declare a challenge, of course. I decided to declare a challenge with my Black Legion champion, decided to put out a challenge for him. And of course, Khorne, the captain of the White Lions, decides to answer the call, because he's the only other character in here. There is no champion in this unit as well. Needless to say, Khorne put the smackdown directly onto that champion, killed him outright as well. Now, because of that, the High Elves get to go first, because they got voice strike first, so they get to go first. In the end, they managed to direct a couple of attacks directly into Lileath. Teclis actually attacks once, causes him to wound, and then of course the other guys around him and behind him, because they fight in 3 ranks, put their attacks directly into Lileath, and just like that, they killed my general.
Something always brings me back to you. It never takes too long. No matter what I say or do, I still feel you here till the moment I'm gone.
To make matters worse, after they get done killing my general, they managed to kill, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Yeah, they managed to kill 8 more of my marked men, which is absolutely atrocious. And then they managed to kill, what is it, 4 more? 5 more of my, 4 more of my Black Legion as well. So that part was terrible. And they put 2 wounds on Crimson Chaos as well. In the end, with all my combined attacks from the Crimson Chaos, from the marked men, as well as from the Black Legion, I killed 7. That's all I killed. It was 7 dudes, all I managed to do. In the end, it didn't really matter that I had him outflanked and disrupted, because they're stubborn, so they didn't really do this. But needless to say, he won combat hardcore. I think he beat me by 7 is what he ended up doing. So unfortunately, I had to start taking break tests, and it's gone. As you can see here, behold the power of the Everqueen's Rangers. Oh my god, those White Lions were absolutely destructive. Crimson Chaos dies from combat res alone because of instability rules. The marked men fail their panic test, and I roll a perfect 12, so they go running directly towards the edge of the table and start running for the hills because they don't want that. And then to make matters worse, the Black Legion also fails their break test and runs to the right-hand side, past the hill, past Varthol the weakest, and the rest of those guys running past the hill to make it as quickly as they possibly can. And the White Lions turn to face directly into that direction to go after them. And here's a close-up of the Black Legion running for quickly as they possibly can away from the Everqueen's Rangers because they don't want to die. And the worst part about it is these guys had +1 toughness. That was the worst part, but it didn't matter though, because White Lions are absolute boss in close combat apparently. And then Khorne abandons me here on the left-hand flank as well. Oh my goodness, it was absolutely insane. So first of all, my opponent decides to declare a challenge, is what he decides to do. He declares a challenge, I declare a challenge, with my Sanguine Skinner. And my opponent decides to accept it with Tanis Lainel, Captain of the Dawn Guard, his Battle Standard Bearer. So I'm thinking, great, this is going to be easy. I have Killing Blow, I should be able to kill this Battle Standard Bearer, no problem. So I rolled a hit, and I flub my rolls. I don't get any attacks off. I rolled a bunch of 1s and 2s like I was going out of style, which is absolutely horrific. And then my opponent counterattacks. Both of his attacks hit. Both of his attacks wound. I failed both my Scaly Skin saves, and I also failed both of my Wart saves as well. And just like that, the Sanguine Skinner gets killed.
Something always brings me back to you. It never takes too long. No matter what I say or do, I still feel you here till the moment I'm gone.
So just like that, my Battle Standard Bearer is killed. Not to mention the High Elves then counterattack, and they kill 8 more of my Bloodletters, and when it was all said and done. I did manage to kill 7 of them in return, which was absolutely fantastic. So I charged, I have a banner. So that part was pretty nice. So my combat resolution score I think was at 9. However, they killed, 8? So because of that, it drops to 1. Plus they kill the Sanguine Skinner, makes it even. Plus they have a Battle Standard Bearer, so they win by 1. Then they also have a Standard Bearer in this unit, so they win by 2. Plus they got 2 ranks on top of me, which wins by 4. So that was absolutely absolutely atrocious the way it ended up working out in the end. Anyways, the way it worked out in the end, though, I only ended with 3 Bloodletters left, is what it all ended up being after instability rules and everything else like that. So because of that, I only got 3 Bloodletters left to face on these guys, and Khorne has quite literally abandoned me on this combat here on the left-hand flank. And over here, my poor Warhounds, they get destroyed right off the bat by the Phoenix Guard. They had no problem killing both those units as well. Because apparently animal cruelty is not such a big issue to High Elves on the magical island of Ulthuan, so that part was kind of sad. However, there is a certain lining over here on the right-hand side. The Word Bearers do manage to kill the Blood Riders, so that part was kind of sad. So my Skull Cannon Khorne gets killed. However, Svarthal the Weakest was able to finish out the last 3 members of the Word Bearers, so that part's kind of cool. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like 1 for 1, and that part's really rough. And the worst part about it, though, is my opponent gets to go next, so that part is absolutely bad in all kinds of ways. So from there, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the High Elves, and this photo is taken after the movement phase. And as you can see, quite a bit has happened. First of all, my opponent decides to declare charge with his White Lions going after the Black Legion. Now, it's a pretty good distance, so I'm thinking I'm pretty safe on that one, right? No, wasn't safe. My opponent rolled his 2d6, he rolled an 11. So because of that, they go tearing across the hill, they bump right into the back end of the Black Legion, and because of that, they chopped them down, killing every single member of my chosen by White Lions. The White Lions just kind of went hi-ho, and they swung their axes and chopped my guys down like timber. It was absolutely horrible when that happened as well. And then, of course, the rest of his army doesn't really do anything. He just kind of moves his Phoenix Guard over to the right-hand side to face off against the Signs of the Destroyer, and that's all he does. Everything else just stays in place because there is no real reason for him to move. He can play defensively from this point on, so that part was horrific. So here's a close-up of the move phase on the left-hand side. As you can see, the Dawn Guard are taking out my 3 Bloodletters, and between you and me, I know there's no way I'm going to be able to pull this one off, so that part was absolutely atrocious. And here's a close-up of the Phoenix Guard getting ready to square off against my Signs of the Destroyer, just in case, because, you know, these guys are impossible to kill because they're Phoenix Guard. And here's a close-up of the Black Legion being no more because the Everqueen's Rangers decided to hunt them down and to murder them. And the crazy part is that when they ran through that hill, they have Striders, so they don't have to worry about really taking any dangerous terrain tests. They just go flying across it and just chop down the Black Legion like it's nobody's business. So that part was absolutely terrible to see that happen. So the movement phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And in the magic phase, my opponent decides to have Teclis cast Soul Quench directly onto Svarthal the Weakest, as well as the Brazen Bull, and needless to say, he was able to finish off that poor guy and managed to kill him outright.
Something always brings me back to you. It never takes too long. No matter what I say or do, I still feel you here till the moment I'm gone.
And it hurts. It still hurts watching that poor guy getting soul quenched to death by Teclis, and at the same time earning him a 6 of ward save for the White Lions. And then, Fresh Prince Belair decides to have Teclis cast Arcane Unforging directly onto my champion, my Exalted Hero, Arbal the Destroyer, and he goes after the Dawnstone and manages to destroy that one. At the same time, at the very last one, he needs to kill Arbal the Destroyer as well. And so just like that, my Exalted Hero dies.
Something always brings me back to you. It never takes too long. No matter what I say or do, I still feel you here till the moment I'm gone.
So as you can see, I'm playing sad character death music quite a bit in this battle report because all my characters are being killed one by one. And for the last part of this magical, unstoppable magic phase, my opponent, Fresh Prince Belair, decides to cast Walk Between Worlds once again onto the White Lions. As you can see, the White Lions turn 180 degrees to face the back of the Signs of the Destroyer, which means I can get a perfect pincer attack between the Phoenix Guard as well as the White Lions. So, oh my god. And now those guys have a 4 ward save once again. It's just absolutely insane. However, it was overkill because during the shooting phase, all 3 bolt throwers from the Falling Legions of Avelorn open up with multiple shots directly onto the remainder of the Signs of the Destroyer. And as you can see in this photo, they kill every single one of those guys to the last man, just shooting to pieces and finishing them off with arrows. So that part was super tragic. And during the combat phase, the Dawn Guard had no problem whatsoever finishing up the very last 3 blood letters from the Flayers of the 8 points that I sent in to fight against them the previous turn. So because of that, those guys get chopped down to pieces and they get killed as well. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, this takes us directly to the end of the games, with the High Elves managed to secure the win on this one because Fresh Prince Bel-Air broke me on this battlefield. And as you can see, nothing but the silence of darkness falls upon the Khorne Legion, and as you can see here, the High Elves are the only ones who are standing, laughing at my bloody, dying corpses. So that being said, we're going to go directly to the After Action Report, ladies and gentlemen, because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I thought about staying. They offered me the chance to lead them, to teach them, to be king.
Uh-huh.
But my place is here, so I swallowed the juice, said the words, and here I am.
Did you say the words right this time?
Well, maybe I didn't say every single tiny little syllable, no, but basically I said them, yeah. Basically.
Alright people, now it's time for the After Action Report. This is part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the After Action Report for the Golden Age Warhammer Fantasy Battle Report number 91, and this one ended being a defeat for yours truly. My opponent, Fresh Prince Bel-Air, scored 3,600 victory points, while I only scored 1,257. For my losses, I lost Scylla Angerfin, Svarthol the Weakest, and the Brazen Bull, the Sanguine Skinner, Arbal the Destroyer, Champion of Khorne, the Flesh Terrors, the Fangs of Nyr, the Marked Men, the Flayers of the 8 points, the Scions of Destroyer, the Black Legion, the Blood Rider, Crimson Chaos. In short, I lost everything. Fresh Prince Bel-Air, though, he lost Tyrion, the Silver Sentinels, the Silent Striders, as well as the Word Bearers. And this game had a lot of insane ups and downs throughout the entirety of the battle. Killing Tyrion was freaking awesome, as well as destroying the Silver Sentinels. So after I killed him, I thought, wow, I really got the momentum, I could keep it up. Plus, when those Everwardens failed their charge against my Flesh Terror, I thought I had this battle because then I could just, outflank the White Lions and finish them off. I'll have the Crimson Chaos, the Marked Men, as well as the Black Legion go directly into the Evergreen's Rangers, and I thought I was going to dominate on that one as well. Plus, sending the Flayers of the 8 points into the Dawn Guard, I thought I had that one as well because he had Killing Blow, and they're going up against normal infantry. In the end, I had nothing. My foundations were built of sand, and just like that, it crumbled all around me. The Evergreen's Rangers gutted my Marked Men, murdered my Crimson Chaos, and then ran down the Black Legion and destroyed them as well. Plus, Teclis is still the man when it comes to magic. That guy is super deadly for the High Elves, especially during that last turn where he was just kind of one-shotting all my characters, killing Svarthol the Weakest, as well as Arbal the Destroyer. That part was absolutely insane as well. And actually, watching the Signs of the Destroyer, my Chaos Knights just being shot to pieces by multiple shots from Bolt Thors, that was just adding insult to injury. It was actually pretty hilarious to actually watch that take place. So that part was pretty cool as well. And to be honest, I think I finally found the sweet spot when it comes to this army as well. I do have chaff now that I can throw away in order to outrun interference from my army. I also have shooting elements as well, and now I have magic now as Svarthol the Weakest, as well as a Brazen Bull. So I'm thinking this is pretty much how I'm going to run my army now for the rest of the time that I actually have for in the battle reports. Just because I can participate now in all phases of the game, so that part was kind of nice. And I think this is what I'm going to use for the duration, unless of course I find something better. Smiley face, because I'm kind of fickle that way. Either way you look at it, though, this was still an amazing game against an awesome opponent, and as always, I am looking forward to rematch against my buddy Fresh Prince Bel-Air. So that's a good deal for those of you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is always appreciated. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to our channel. That's good deal for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. You guys stay classy and peace out.